What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneaker Show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, my two friends. First off, to my right, Mr. Matt Welty.
We're back at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To my left, Mr. Brendan Dunne. He brought the human-made pants out. The human-made pants out, you know what it means.
Is that cause for celebration?
He's on timing. He's on timing. Drop
Does that
the
feel
demon,
so significant?
Drop the purple demon time emojis in the
Throw 'em in
comments.
the chat, yeah? Load the chat
We'll
up.
get to the feet later.
Was that your version of the wide pants for the foam posits?
Yes.
When he brings out the human made, we already know what tone is set.
Gears for futuristic teenagers.
Also, you and I kind of have the same.
Yeah, we're very
Same color palette.
no
Yeah.
pun intended, but in sync.
Are you the twinning
You see what he
emojis?
just said?
Yep.
Don't
Justin Timberlake,
don't
sneaker shopping, a
sleep
little
on his double
little
entendres.
reference. So yeah, Joe and I feel like we both have the same T-shirt on. We
Yeah.
know what the T-shirt is. Uniqlo white tee, classic.
Absolutely.
How much time do we want to spend breaking down
That's
our
it.
outfits?
That's it.
Okay,
We'll end it there.
Okay. Welty, how are you?
Great.
Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling alive.
Okay. Bare
The back
minimum,
is-
but that's good.
We're back at it.
Back. Remember he messed up his back before.
Huh?
The back. Remember his back was messed up before.
Yeah. I took a week off from the gym. Just got 10,000 steps in each day.
Feeling
No
like
back
Vanessa
problems.
Carlton with all those stubs.
Exactly. All right, so a bunch of topics this week. We're going to get into the Jordan preview, see our hits and misses, our favorites and not so favorites. Also, Drake premiered a new shoe.
Yep.
What else we got?
Got the Nike Air 180s coming back in
I
a
know
big
you're-
way.
I know
No,
we're
you're-
excited. We're
Yeah,
excited
you're
about
excited
this, right?
about that.
Okay. And I want to have a Samba conversation. There's always room for a
Oh.
Samba conversation. These Jound Sambas. I need Welty's take on those.
Yes.
All right, we're going to get to all that today.
Well, can we just get to it right off the start?
What?
What do we get into?
You put out what you may consider the greatest sneaker shopping episode of all time.
I never go on record. I do go on record saying 50 Cent is my favorite. We all know.
For obvious personal reasons.
I said it last week when I spiked the lens. Shouts to Durs, our friend who taught us that term.
We're getting real Hollywood with it the week of the Oscars.
I was just in Hollywood.
You're getting Hollywood on us?
No, but I was
Yeah,
just in
yeah,
Hollywood.
He did that. He
Nope.
did that a decade
Nope.
ago.
No. I was just in Hollywood Oscars weekend. But yes, we are 24 hours from the Justin Timberlake episode of Sneaker Shopping going live. I always say that 50 Cent is my favorite for obvious reasons. Humbly, I think this may be the best episode of Sneaker Shopping yet.
Did it make you a believer, Brendan Dunne?
I heard rumblings about that. I didn't know.
If there's one thing you
I
can
heard
count-
rumblings
if
about
there's
that.
one thing you can count on Matthew J. Welty for, it's bringing up a random comment
Behind
you made
the
8 years ago.
Okay.
Hey, it's accurate. I mean, it's not accurate. It's relevant.
Go
If
ahead.
you go back, and I believe it's the first episode of Full Size Run where Trinidad James was a guest. I think he wasn't a host yet. He was a guest.
I remember that headline, yeah. Came up in research.
This is when Justin Timberlake had his Super Bowl moment.
Yeah.
And you just kind of went off on how Justin Timberlake wasn't cool and you didn't believe him as a sneakerhead.
Strong disagree. What'd you think of the episode? Did you like it?
I enjoyed it, Joe.
Okay.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I love
Okay.
it.
We have to say that.
No, you don't have to say that.
No.
He
I'm
said
kidding.
top
I'm
five.
kidding.
He said top
look.
five. I never go on record like
Yeah.
you
is
guys
bold.
know
This is very bold of you.
what's your favorite this one is up there for me, if not the one.
I'm happy for you.
What I will say from the first time I watched it, the thing I liked about it the most is that not everyone who comes on these shows needs to be the biggest sneakerhead, but I feel like sometimes you can maybe have a guesstimate in the back of your mind if a guest is sort of faking it through an episode or kind of getting a prepackaged line from their publicist to say, hey, tell this sneaker story, etc. And it felt like Justin Timberlake was so sharp, so
Aware?
what's the best way of putting it? He had all these stories that were they lined up and they were
Good.
They were good, where it's like
He was outside, is what you're saying?
I just think that sometimes when you ask
Here's the difference.
you ask celebrities about Jordans back in the day and they're like, oh yeah, I remember the Jordan 1s, but they don't really have a story behind it.
This is what I think
Yeah,
he's
I know what
trying
you
to say. And this is why I love this episode. And yeah, I've waited in line for sneakers. I remember back in the day, I waited in line for sneakers. And like, that's good, a good response. Yeah, I remember waiting in line for sneakers, and I remember waiting in line for the Olive Nines. Is a different level.
But then
that was like in the first 5 minutes, and I was like, you know,
did you mention to him
I love the
about
olive nines.
your friend who didn't you?
No,
custom-
he died him.
You died. Did you?
I
Did you
bring
take
it
the
up.
time?
I
to
bring it up
suggest
to
it?
it was
Yeah.
the little
His time is a
it
little
was-
more valuable than ours.
It was the little details because he goes on to say
The winterize?
when they he goes,
Yes.
it looks like a boot, and he goes,
Yes.
yeah, and then when they winterize the shoe, it's those little things you pick up on when
Yeah.
you've interviewed for someone for so long where you're like, okay, he really knows what
Yeah.
he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's cooking. Let him cook. When he came back to it, and then they did the winterized version, I was like, they did do the winterized version. Let him cook. We made a believer out of Brendan Dunne. Okay? But yeah, go watch that episode.
Go watch that. Everybody already saw it. It's doing well.
Thank you. The longest episode of Sneaker Shopping,
Making history right there.
and I don't want to get too ahead of myself.
And he bought Red Octobers.
He bought the Red Octobers, first one on the show to ever do that. I don't want to get too ahead of
Really
myself.
making history.
Were you surprised that they had the Red Octobers in his size?
They didn't even have them on the shelf, I don't think. Also, Flight Club is different now in LA. They used to have like the high-end shoes are all the way up
Yep.
there. They may have had them, but good purchase, classic purchase. The Flight Club employees were really, they're like, he's getting the Red Octobers. Dave Matthews always likes that. Oh, yeah. I hear rumbling. I go, what, Dave? Happy birthday, Dave, by the way. But I hear rumbling. Oh, I think our guy's going to cash out.
It's just one of
And
those.
then he'll always say a phrase like,
Our producer Dave Matthews.
this is what he'll say. It's like, he'll say like, oh, maybe March, but it's October tonight, if you know what I mean. Like he'll always say something. No, he'll always say like, oh, maybe March 6th, but tonight it seems like a red October. And I'll be like, okay, perfect Dave Matthews. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but guess what? The next 2 weeks are great too. I think you're going to like the next one. You didn't watch it yet.
Mhm.
And then the next one, forget it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys. Also appreciate you guys always for the help. I know
Oh, come on.
we flipped it
And
very
also
quickly,
one of the
so
cool things
thank you for
too
that.
was when he broke out the PEs that he wore at the Super Bowl, where it said Super Bowl
Yeah.
across the shoe. I was like, oh,
and
that's awesome.
historical sneaker.
Yeah. The crease. I love the crease part, you know? And like he was like, I know, but
Well, can we talk about these JJJound Sambas?
Yeah, sure.
Good
What do you wanna talk
shoe.
about it? I don't care for it.
Tell me why you don't like them.
I don't-
And also, this is interesting because obviously I'm the JJJound guy, right?
But I've become a JJJound guy.
Yeah, you know, this is one of the many labels you put
the
on
battle
me
of the
that
JJJound?
Yeah, that I never asked for. You know, you made me the JJJound guy, and then we didn't really, I feel like, acknowledge it as much as we should have. But last week, I think it was, you came on here wearing a JJJound collab, and
Yeah.
you're suddenly transforming into a JJJound guy. But the JJJound Adidas don't do it for you. Why not?
I like some of the shoes that JJJound has done, and it's I think it's impossible to hate on a lot of it from a surface level. I think a lot of people look into JJJound and say, hey, you know what? I don't like the shoes because he didn't really do anything special to them. I think that's the biggest knock on a lot of his work, that it's just like
Plain,
It's-
boring,
it-
maybe even lazy.
it's a tweaked version of the base model, right?
Yes.
But
Like the shoes you wore last week.
yeah, but at the same time, I think they're also just good because they're simplistic, right? They'd be good even without the JJJound label on it. I just
Right, the flip side of that is versatile.
yeah, but I think I like some of the JJJound shoes, but maybe I don't buy into personally the whole like JJJound guy persona, you know?
Yeah, I would say you're a little different.
Yeah, I don't think that I fit into that mold.
He looked at me and then he kind of gestured toward me. Again,
No.
this is a mold you made for me. I
Do you
never.
feel like
I
you're-
did-
don't know if
I
he's
didn't
a
mean that.
fully JJJound guy.
Sorry, go on.
But the JJJound Sambas, I think
Yeah.
this shoe's kind of been long teased to some extent. I know that there was also a tan suede pair.
Mhm.
I think that looks okay, but it's just the basic Sambas. It's the black with the white stripe, gum sole, white with the black stripe,
Yeah.
gum sole. But they have this like what someone referred to as the lining of the shoe looks like the dog poop that I stepped in on the way to the office.
Who
Had to
said
take
that?
it back there.
The comments,
Had to take it back there.
which I thought was funny. But that yellow lining is really gross to me.
Mhm.
I don't think they're made in Germany. They have this like nice leather on them. I don't think something about it just looks off.
Made in Germany, Adidas Sambas doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't. I just don't. To me, I don't think they're bad shoes,
Yeah.
but the OG Samba colorways, the black with the white with the black. I think I've told this story on here when I going to Red Bull matches with a lot of my
The
friends.
lads.
Yeah, I would say that the Samba, the black and white Samba, was basically like the Panda Dunk for people going to the match. It's like your first time kind of
The
like
Panda dunk for football hooligans.
yeah, it's like you show up and they haven't really like dug into it like a little
The
deeper.
play school version.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got a pair of those in the closet. So they show it's like it's just kind of the go-to, and it's not bad. It's not a bad shoe, but it was just you show up and there'd be like 7 people wearing like cooked Sambas with the long tongues on them, and I'm like,
Years
okay.
ago, before the current trend.
Yes, this is like 2015, 2016.
Oh, wow.
Now, am I wrong for thinking that a made in Germany Adidas Samba would be exactly the type of sneaker Welty would enjoy?
To
No.
some extent, but I just, sometimes you see something, you're just like, you don't even have to think too deep into it. You're just like, I just don't really care for that much. It's just, I just saw it and I was like, I don't want those.
But I just feel like if Gary Aspen did this,
Mm.
or some sneaker store in a
No, now
remote
we're getting a
European
little-
village that
I
we've
feel like
never heard of
maybe-
did this,
Now we're
you
peeling
would be
the
on
layers
board.
back.
I feel like, and I don't want to try and like give him like some sort of like godlike complex or whatever on it, but I think that he would do something a little more different than
More
just
nuanced.
or just he would do a little more than just taking the OG and just adding a yellow liner to
Okay.
it. That's all. It just feels a little.
They made them in Germany.
I know, but they feel a little boring.
German craftsmanship.
Am I wrong for thinking? I know
No, they are boring, of course.
it's JJJound. Like, what
Yeah.
else do you expect?
Of course.
But I have so many of those shoes to begin with. I feel like maybe if you have so many of them to begin with, you're just like, hey, I don't need that one.
I know what you mean, but also, and I'm not saying I'm going to buy the sneaker because it's an expensive sneaker compared to the regular Sambas, but I am into this idea of here's the basic shoe, but we made it a little better. And I think the best version of that is the New Balance 1300 when they do the Japan
For
versions,
sure.
made in USA every 5 years with the proper outsole.
Do you
on
feel
them.
like it's a little late in the sense that the Samba trend has been running its course and then this comes out this much later?
I don't think so. Also another funny thing from set, I will say the people behind the scenes,
Mhm.
you know what shoe that they're picking up a ton still? Sambas. All the Sambas. Like sometimes I'm looking at like when we're in between cuts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Wales Bonner.
Yeah.
People still really into
Just to see what the hoi polloi are into?
Yeah, and also like it's a shoe on the wall that when we're filming, people still gravitate to.
I'm interested to see if the Samba girlies and all the gentlemen who are into Sambas right now, I'm going to see if they follow Adidas's lead to the SL72 later
That's
this year.
interesting.
Big model this year. I think we mentioned that up to a year ago, probably on this program. We showed the Bob Marley pair that's coming out.
Sporty
And
and Rich just did one.
yeah, it's the next destination for Adidas retro models. I think that kind of it's a running shoe, 70s running shoe.
Bob
right?
Marley wore it back in the day.
Yep.
One thing that a lot of people don't realize about with Adidas is that thing I love is that the brand is so rooted in sport
Mhm.
that like it's called the SL72 because it was a shoe that was debuted at the 1972 Olympics.
And do I have that right? It was a running sneaker?
Yes. In a lot of their shoes, it's like they're named after like random sports, but they were made for that sport. Like the handball Spezial was made for the sport of handball.
Yeah.
There's actually an Adidas fencing shoe too, which
Really?
yes, which I'm super.
Have they ever
Into?
come back out?
No, but it's like a shoe from like the 70s. It's like that old school style. I'm just like, that's so cool.
Do we like them?
Yes.
Oh, I need a pair. I was a fencer very briefly.
Really?
Did you get poked in the eye?
You did?
My freshman year of college at the University of Oregon, I took fencing, and I completed 70% of the class, and then just dropped it from my schedule.
Here's the question.
What was your?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Was it
Ela, I think that's what you say when you do like
so?
Ela or something like that.
I'm assuming that the beginning majority of it was teaching you the footwork and the technique and the proper safety and all that sort of stuff.
It was
Sounds
probably
right.
like
And I'm guessing the last third of it was like, okay, now you actually have to fence someone. Is that when you were like, hey, I'm out?
No. I'll tell the story briefly.
Okay.
You know what it was? Being a left-handed person is so annoying in some aspects of life and in some places, and that's one of the most annoying places because everybody in the class
Is
was
right-handed.
right-handed, and
Wouldn't that give you an advantage to some extent? If they're coming with
I-
their right, you could like easily
Southpaw.
block them out of the way.
Southpaw.
I don't know. But it just got annoying to me because the guy, the professor, the instructor, whatever, the coach, he would give all the instructions for everybody and how to fence, and then he'd like turn to me and be like, and of course, if you're left-handed, You got to do it all the other
You feel
way.
offended?
Do you wear,
I was full
do you
snowflake.
fence in sneakers or no? You and your just his little Jordan 3s
might
like Leonardo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was your record? The Portland campus. There's just
were in
track
Eugene,
going on.
baby.
There's track going on. You see him in the black cement 3s. Just what are
Poking around.
Exactly. What a life he's lived.
I will say though, because I want to talk about this Adidas stuff. This is just like one brief thought. It's funny. I'm not mad at the Samba trend, so I don't want that to make it seem like a thing.
Don't create that fake narrative. Don't make that
no,
headline.
Not at all. It's just a little funny because I would say that like what we talked about, like going to a football match and seeing the people wearing the shoes. I would say the majority of the people wearing the shoes were people who were super into like punk rock or hardcore music, or just going to a football match and like turning up and doing like reckless things. So it's kind of funny now to see like those versions of the Samba where I connotate it so much with people who are like getting like blackout drunk and like doing ungodly acts, right? To like it becoming just like the Mulberry Street shoe. So it's like it's become a very like when I think of Samba in my head, I think of like some sort of like dangerous energy around the person. Where
really?
This 100%. It's
based on your personal experiences.
Based on my personal experience, but just like
wearers.
the Samba wearers is like that's the guy who gives no Fs.
Was that you in the PEs? Don't feel
what we
feeling
need?
froggy. Don't jump at the games.
You know what we
you
need?
can say it.
We need that meme where it's sorry, it's like the two comparisons of like Samba wearers in 2015s and Samba wearers in 2025.
It just I mean, I know a lot of people say that too with like, with like a white Air Force One, like that shoe becoming super like
gentrified,
sanitized, and I kind of feel like that to some extent, even though it's not as universally spread of a thing, but I think of someone wearing a Samba, someone
crack a beer bottle over,
or someone who's like
substances, in
someone who's like tatted up, camo shorts.
Really?
Yes.
But let me say this.
Sambas. Yeah.
That's really interesting because that's not what probably in 2024, like you were saying.
No, not at all.
Most people assume Samba wearers wear.
It's almost like when it came to like people at a football match, I would say that the Samba wearer was like the black Air Force One wearer. Where they were like the wild card, where you're like, that guy doesn't care because he shows up in the Sambas and they're.
Do you have any pictures of your friends? Like,
yes,
blur out their faces.
Seriously, that we can put in
for sure. No, definitely. But I would just say that was like the connotation of the guy in the Sambas.
Yeah,
was the guy that you're like, oh, he might be a little.
But I will say, and I love that narrative for you and that personal history and you seeing what the Samba meant back then for you versus what it means now. But I will say that yes, it is different from the Air Force One because I think that interpretation of the Samba you had in the 2010s is a relatively narrow one. Of that, I don't think that
for sure,
is
I get
culturally attached to the Samba on a high level.
I also love the history. I've said this story before. My earliest sneaker memory of the Samba was I remember the two twins from the sneaker tournament, young. I must have been like 8 years old.
Wait, what? I don't remember this.
Okay, so it was these two twins. I believe they played in Comac, Long Island.
Not two sets of twins.
Yes,
one set of twins.
Got you.
One set of twins. I remember. I must have been like 10 years old. Indoor soccer, and it was these twins played for I believe Comac. They were both wearing Sambas. Indoor soccer, and I remember the game went to a shootout, and they were like the best in the tournament. And we're like,
you knew it was a wrap.
Well, this is what they did. One of them, 8 years old. Listen, we're old and mature. 8 years old. I don't think I've ever seen this in a regular soccer game, but I remember they were wearing Sambas. I remember like they're cool and they're awesome at soccer. 8 years old. It goes to a shootout.
Yeah.
The guy puts the ball down. One of the twins.
Did he push his Samba tongue to the side a little bit?
No, it's not. It's tangentially Samba related, but it was such a fucking G move.
Yeah.
Puts the ball down at the little thing.
Knuckle puck?
No. Goes to the goalie, right? Goes to the goalie.
Shakes his hand.
Shakes his hand. Bro, 8 years old. 8 years old.
What an alpha move.
8 years old. Shakes his hand. Puts the ball back.
He must have killed the kangaroo he got the leather for on those Sambas himself.
Before the kick, shakes his hand, goes back, puts the ball, whistle blows.
Fires it in.
Fires it right in. They win the
Never
game.
any doubt.
What happened?
They win the game. I was like, what the?
What?
I was like, this is the coolest kid I've ever seen. I still remember it. We wouldn't do that now.
We got to interview the twins.
Hold on.
I got to find them. I don't know
Imagine if he missed the shot, though. The goalie could like spit on his hand.
He knew he was going to make it.
Yeah, never any doubt.
8 years old, you go and shake.
Laser.
Hey, I'm sorry I have to do this to you. Comes back, and he had the Sambas. That was my first memory of the Sambas.
Smokes a cigarette right after.
And
lights up a Marlboro Red. I wish I had a formative. You guys are giving us so much right now with these Samba memories. I don't have a good Samba memory.
Here's the other takeaway from that little story. You know how much cachet the Samba has built up with me just because of that
just
story?
Off of that?
The like first big memory.
These are the stories that I love. These foundational things.
First big memory was like, okay, so they're wearing these. He just did the coolest thing I've seen in the 8 years of my life, probably.
Your time on this planet Earth.
Yeah.
The thing I miss too most about the Samba, like bringing it back to that era, is that I believe when I bought a pair early on, and whenever I saw it,
how early? As a teenager?
No. This is like, I'm talking like 9 or 10 years old at the time. I would say that you had to buy the Sambas at like a specialty sporting goods store at the time. Like you couldn't just walk into the local. Maybe you could, and like correct me if I'm wrong. Go into the local Foot Locker and get it. But I feel like I remember going to like a soccer store.
Yep.
And buying the Sambas there with like the white wall with like the pegs that are like
pegboard.
Yeah. That's where I remember most buying those shoes.
You know what? I guess maybe I can remember because a lot of my friends were on the soccer team in high school, and maybe some of my close friends, like a guy Danny Roop, might have had a pair of Sambas, and I do.
Oh,
maybe I'm fabricating this.
Okay, my boy just trying to get a soccer story off.
No.
No.
I remember him being pulled over one time and getting a ticket for driving with his shoes off, and I feel like maybe the shoes in question could have been the Sambas, but that might be a stretch. I will reach out to Danny Roop and confirm or deny and see if we can corroborate the story. We'll cut it if it's false.
I said, Danny, do you know how fast you were going? He was like, I'm not sure, officer.
Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I like I'd mentioned, I distinctly remember the Samba being sort of going to matches, and the Samba just kind of being this, either I'm into punk rock, I'm into football casual scene, or just I'm into soccer. Like the shoes spread across all of those. So a lot of people wanted to wear it as like a signifier. And I felt like going to a lot of those matches that a lot of people tried to dress in a certain way that like maybe signified that either they were into the sport of soccer or they were kind of into the lifestyle added. Like either you show up in like a Lacoste polo, Stone Island jacket,
CP Company,
pair of Sambas, Ralph Lauren like dad hat, etc. But the funny part was the Sambas was like, okay, I'm into soccer, I may be into punk rock, but the one step too far that people thought was a good move but wasn't a good move is when they would show up in the Adidas like Copa turf shoes to like the soccer game.
Why is that not
Copa
allowed?
cleats were like to me, Copa cleats were like the Samba
because it's like, hey
cleats.
man,
Copa,
it's like, hey man, we're going to the stadium to watch the match. Like you're not running on the field.
They're not going to call your number.
You also hate when sneakers have the little he hates
I
all
remember
turf
one of his early complaints about the Field General or Astrograbber or something was
but
it was
we're just like, hey man,
it's turf. It's not
he always says the same thing.
You're just like, hey man, hold on. Hey man, we're here to like watch the game and then go to the bar after. You're not coaching and you're not going on the field yourself. Like
you always say the same thing. What are you going to be on the subway sliding around in them? He says the same thing. No,
he's right. He's right. He's on the right side.
I want to ask, let's take one from each brand.
Yeah.
Panda Dunk.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say for New Balance? 550?
Yeah.
And the Samba. 3 of the archival shoes that are
super staples
that have now gone mass.
Yeah.
Where are we ranking those 3? You had to buy one.
Personally? Oh, if I had to buy one to wear?
Yes.
I mean, I just don't think Sambas are that comfortable because they're so flat. I've not really worn 550s like that.
Really? I think Sambas are more comfortable because they're flat.
Well, I'm not in the gym like you, so.
No, I'm not talking about fitness. It's like people see those flat Adidas shoes and think that they're not comfortable because they're flat.
Yeah.
But when you put them on, they almost feel like slippers on your feet because they're so flat.
We have a shoot. You could only wear those 3. You have those 3 options. What are you choosing?
I'll probably go on Air Force Ones.
That's not one of the
That's
options.
he said Panda Dunk,
Excuse me.
Panda Dunk 550 and Samba.
Oh. I'll take the Samba.
I think me too.
I think I go Samba. The only thing that would be maybe an asterisk to it is that I feel like sometimes you can get a semi-cool version of the 550 that
I
where you're
think
like,
a lot.
It's not too toasted.
or it just doesn't look like the generic ones. That
What
you
about
see.
these 550s right now? The Bape style colorways, patent leather
Yeah, I feel like you-
550s.
Oh,
with
you
like,
saw those? The
yeah,
Easter
like,
colorways?
Or I forget
Volt
which
and pink.
I forget which one it was. There was that pair that had like the green upper with like the black sole.
You like those?
Yeah, like something like that. I feel like you could get away with.
Would you ever wear a GR Samba right now?
Yeah,
You would.
I'm-
The black and white one?
I don't know about those. I always did like the white and black one.
Yeah.
More, but yeah, I don't.
Welty, can we talk about the Air 180? Have we discussed the Air 180 much on here?
No, but it's coming back and it's awesome.
I know. Look, we were just on here last week complaining about Air Max Day, and all those complaints hold. That everything we said there is true and legendary, you know, valid and totally objectively accurate. But let's not forget that this should be a fun year for Air Max because the Air Max 180 is coming back around.
I think that shoe is awesome. For those who don't know, Air Max, actually, it's
the
not,
Air 180.
it's not an Air Max shoe. It's the Air 180, and
Right.
it's called the 180 because it was the first 180-degree
Air bubble.
air bubble designed by Tinker Hatfield,
Mhm.
1991. So it came out right after the Air Max 90.
Mhm.
Drastically different shoe though. It has like a booty tongue upper, and the toe's a little more like sprung forward to some degree. The shoe's coming back remastered
That's the best part.
this
Nice.
year.
And Nike's never done that on an Air Max 180 before.
Nope, and I think it's cool too is that the shoe, maybe it's a little behind the scenes, but it's designed by Leon from Prestoology,
Yeah.
someone that we've had in the office, someone that we've talked to in the past. I remember I wrote a story on Eric Clapton's Nike Prestos, and he gave me a quote for it back in the day. But when you see someone like that who's just such a nerd, like sneaker nerd out on the details, get the chance to do it, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm in for this.
To help the shoe look more accurate and look more like it did originally. Something we've never had for this silhouette
ultramarine
before.
colorway.
Yeah.
Those shoes get super dirty. They're called dirt magnets. It's like the nickname for them.
You know, I've never actually owned a pair of 180s, and I do feel like past versions have always felt so flimsy. So
Mhm.
I think I will buy into this one because
I like it.
I support the idea of bringing shoes back in a way that's accurate to the originals. Jordan Brand has had a lot of success with this with Remastered, and we get this on Nike silhouettes sometimes, but it's not as official. They don't like stamp it in the same way. Obviously Air Max 186 with the bigger bubble.
Yeah.
Classic Bradley Carbone mentoring moment. Opium 180s. I
Yep.
forget.
Great shoe in
We had a chance of getting them,
Yeah.
and I didn't know much about
He
it.
said, "Listen, young
He
buck."
said, took me right, put me right over here, guys. Right, took me right under his shoulder. He goes, "Hey, this is a shoe that you want.
This is
And
important.
we ended up getting them. One shoe that I have no idea what happened to.
Those are great.
So good.
It's sad that you just can't wear them.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I did own 2 pairs of the Comme des Garçons Air 180s. I feel like I told this story
Big
before. but
JLP shoe.
as soon as that
Huge.
shoe dropped, I was with a friend. We rushed up to Dover Street Market, and we both bought the pink pair, and then rushed down to Flight Club and listed them for
You should
sale.
have
But
kept those. You should have kept
The
those.
all
thing
pink
is,
one's the one to me.
I have a
no,
DS
I like
pair.
the black and pink one, but that's such a tough shoe to try and sell, at least back then, because it has that CDG tax on it where all the Nike CDG stuff.
Profit.
Somebody please explain this to me where they could just get away with charging an extra
$300.
$100 on top for no apparent reason,
That's
no
a
upgrade
great-
in the materials or
They were
anything like
260,
that.
right?
Yeah,
I have-
260, 275, something like that.
But the Air 180, infamously worn by Michael Jordan in the Team USA photos, the Concord grape colorway, the white, purple, and gold. I also love, a few years ago, they did a Ralph Steadman version.
Yep.
Ralph Steadman, the artist who did all of the Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, etc. books. And also for a lot of people out there, the only reason they know Ralph Steadman is because he designed the cover for the Huncho Jack.
Right. And also he worked on one of the original campaigns around
Yes,
the
that's
Air
where it came
180.
from.
Yeah.
It was Jack Rabbit They took the Jackrabbit idea, put it on the OG Ultramarine colorway, that hairy suede. That's like one of the greatest Air Max flips to me of all time.
You love those. You love those. CDG Air 180, big JLP shoe.
Huge. Love it.
Let's stamp that right now.
Remember our first PJ Tucker episode. I remember wearing it. Wore those a lot. I have a pair on ice.
Your first PJ Tucker. How many PJ Tucker?
Two.
I've never had the pleasure of interviewing him on a show. Now he's got his own podcast. Maybe we could do a little crossover collab
We almost
moment.
We almost were close. Yeah.
But Air 180s, Welty, let's you and me both buy a pair.
Yep.
There we go.
Shout out to Leon.
Yeah, I had the history of Air pair from 2005.
Yeah.
Can't we go back to those days?
I like it.
20.
Can it be when it was all
Almost 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Just made me feel really old.
Sorry, man. Drake has a new sneaker coming out. Nike Hot Step 2. Wow, capture the pain in his face. Look at the grimace.
You'll never get to give him his fair share,
They
huh?
still look like Fila's.
Do you think it looks like the unreleased Yeezy 1050 in that orange colorway? It's got similar
No.
lines across the
No.
side.
No.
All right.
Did you put that in the Slack? Someone did, right?
Someone mentioned it. I
He's
thought
not
it was
even
worth
going to give the
mentioning.
Knock the Glide credit. A shoe that's still by my door. Even, I went with the Air Forces, but I still really like that
Hey,
shoe.
look, I hate when we put something out there and people get
With the-
upset about it
the
or
crowd.
they poo-poo it. But deep down in my heart, even though it negatively reflects our work, I do feel some sort of confidence in society that the Knock the Glide on the Complex Con
They didn't like
Sneakers
that
of the
one.
Year panel
Yeah.
was rebuked.
Yeah, we were wrong. We're not afraid to say it.
I like those.
But that was one
They
of the
didn't- the
shoes
crowd didn't
that's-
like- the crowd didn't
people,
like it.
People felt like it didn't belong.
Do you
on
like
there.
the orange colorway of this that Clint previewed? Seems like he's getting them first.
Yeah, he's
Team
definitely on
early.
that level with Nike for sure. I think it's a cool looking shoe. I don't know if I need the orange. I don't need any of them, but
Okay.
I like
I
the
like the sneaker.
Nocta Drive more than this shoe. I think that's a pretty okay looking shoe, based off of an original Nike silhouette. I wish they would just retro the OG because I've seen a lot of people post those pairs. There's like a white and blue one. It's like a la like the Zoom Citizen, the biggest JLP shoe. But
Number
I
the
one.
think
camera on my man right
I
here.
think
one.
that'd be nice to wear.
Speaking of nice to wear, should we talk about the sneakers we have on feet
Yep.
this
We
week?
should.
Welty, what are you wearing?
Shout out our good friend. You killed it with these.
I was going to wear them today. I texted
He
him.
texted
Are
me
you
this
wearing?
morning. Are you wearing these? Yeah. These are the Kith 1906. They get a little like Kithmas vibe to them, right?
A little bit.
Black and gold?
A little bit. You called
With
it
the
early.
green, with the green and red.
You
Where's
called
the
it.
green and red?
The whole shoe is green.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
I
not
thought-
black. It's like a dark
I'm
green.
squinting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks black and white to me. I'm colorblind.
I like
Yeah.
I like the other ones as well. The white and blue. Those are really nice.
Nice sneaker.
I'm doing black white Air Force One low from 2019.
Which is made infamous by
Famous.
maybe infamous too
All right, I won't police your use of that word.
by Craig, aka Ice Cube in
Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
This quality, though, I said it before, very good quality. These 2019.
Sleeper sneaker.
Wait,
Yes.
those aren't the Bodhi Astro grabbers.
No.
The way that you're tearing up the carpet with those.
No.
This is a level of detail that I don't think the viewers could see.
Maybe
Turn
we
on the
could get
video
a
if you're
camera
listening, by the way,
overhead.
but,
Yeah.
like, Joe is so fidgety that
Very
on
fidgety.
this carpet, he's always moving his feet back and forth and
I'm
just
like
tearing it
I'm like
up.
Rick James.
I mean, you just had Justin Timberlake on, so it's tearing up my carpet
Oh,
when
God.
I'm with you.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow. I didn't know.
Wow.
But yeah, I like Rick James the carpet. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm sorry to the.
But you don't
all
even have
over
the
your
you don't
footwear.
even have the nubs of the Astro grabber on that, and you still did damage to the turf. So
So what are we gonna do? But yeah, 2019, great quality. One.
But this is
released
the
in
one that they brought back,
in
right?
February. They
Yeah.
brought another. They brought the same one back. I'm not sure if it's as good quality, but these.
are you gonna sell your Saquon Air Trainer 3s now?
No.
What, because he signed to the Eagles?
Yeah.
Sell them. Eli Manning came to my apartment and
Excuse
gave me
us.
those. My
Excuse us.
apartment. Another story.
Remember 30 minutes ago I said he was going Hollywood on us?
Yeah.
Eli Manning came to Brooklyn.
He's doing the same voice. What's the story you told last week where you?
Me?
Yeah.
What about the G-Unit jacket and
Yes.
20? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that I'm passionate. Eli Manning. I walked out of my apartment. He has the Saquon trainers. I'm going, what? Anyway,
Is this real life?
yeah, a lot of moments like that. Is this real life? Look, you said he wasn't going to wear them.
The meme comes to real
what
life.
did Lloyd Banks say? Brought the beef to your front door like Domino's? Look, right in front of you.
That line like doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
I have black foams on.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I'm glad that you like semi-recreate. You maybe
I wore this pair of pants
Yes.
specifically for you, Welty, because you did tag me in that photo weeks ago of the person wearing the big old pants with the
Yes,
foams
tried to fry
and
'em.
how bad it looked. So I wanted to honor you in my own way.
This is a job interview. Hey, listen, we have this candidate coming in. He's a sneaker journalist, so we'll see if it's going to be a fit here. Sneakers, semi-casual look. He has the button up. He has the human-made semi-khakis.
Don't make me pop out for a job interview.
And then he had to remind you on the feet. This is like the job interview. Well, let's hope not. Who knows? Where's he going after this?
Oh, Brenny Hardaway.
Exactly.
Did y'all see this Air Jordan Summer 2024 preview that they did on Sneakers
Oh, how
Live?
could we miss it?
How could
Wait,
we
what's
miss it?
when we were talking about topics for today, the preview is always a thing that's talked about. Were people excited, not excited?
I mean,
What's the deal?
I think there's a lot of Jordans to look forward to in
Mhm.
here, a lot of them to discuss, and I think we should break them down more or less
Yep.
sneaker by sneaker. I think
Okay.
the big one is the Air Jordan 4 military blue, or
Mhm.
as they're calling them, industrial blue. That's the marquee sneaker from the group. This was on Sneakers
Is there a
Live.
conspiracy behind that, Brendan?
We'll talk about the conspiracy for sure. But actually, you know what? I'll admit that I didn't see this thing on Sneakers Live because I have other things going on in my life where I can't just pull up a Sneakers live stream at any
Mhm.
given moment and sit there for 47 minutes and watch them talk about all the shoes.
But if it's earnings call,
Yes, you're actually fair, because if it's a quarterly earnings call from a sneaker brand, I will be there. And in
weren't
fact,
you saying that you were going to wake up at 4:00 in the morning to
in
listen?
fact, the day after we record this, because it's Adidas and they'll be on German time, like the Sambas,
Is it tomorrow?
it's tomorrow morning. I'll be up at 4 a.m.
Wow.
10
listening,
a.m. Yeah, their time.
hoping that some juicy tidbits come out of it.
Yep. He's gonna.
But
What's the listening station for those? Just on the computer?
Yeah, I'll be
Just
hunched
getting
over.
ready?
you have to enter your name into like Brendan Dunne is viewing the.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
So
Okay,
the
so
shoes-
Air Jordan Summer 2024 releases.
Do we have to go through all of them?
I don't
No,
think so. Just the
there's-
big ones.
there's
Do you guys know
there's
which-
the 17 low
The Lightning.
one
that comes with the suitcase. I know there's like a bit of controversy over that because everyone wanted
price?
the everyone wanted the 17s to come with the suitcase. I remember our coworker Zach DeBasic, as originally someone had posted a leaked image of the shoe, and it came with a regular box,
The Air Jordan 17 Low Lightning.
and people were upset about it. But then I remember our coworker Zach DeBasic had said, "Hey, the 17 low didn't come with the
They didn't.
suitcase. It was
He's
the
right.
17 high."
Correct.
Yeah.
So for them to go back and release the 17 low with the suitcase, it feels like a little bit of revisionist history.
An anachronism there.
Yeah.
Something's
how do
not
we-
quite right.
How do we feel about that?
Why are you?
Oh God.
Why are
who
you rolling your
cares?
eyes? Who cares?
cares?
No, listen. If anybody cares, we care. We're the people who are allowed to nerd out over sneaker details
As
and
long
hold
as you
That's
know
what this whole
brands
show's
accountable
about.
and speak truth to power when these things are
That-
wrong.
Pointing it out is fine. Feeling away, do you feel a way about it?
Well, I wasn't going to buy the shoe either
I'm
way,
buying
so
it.
it didn't
Yeah,
matter.
you wanted the briefcase.
Okay.
You're buying
another
the
story.
white Air Jordans?
Another story.
I know we've heard. Yeah.
But did I tell you when the neck was going like this? The neck's hold on.
You're at the chiropractor. What happened?
Hold on. Heard that? This is a story. Got him at Athlete's Foot.
Yeah.
Broke finish line dress code by wearing the
Yeah.
white Lightnings.
Mhm.
When I tell you the most, you couldn't get them, but they
Yeah.
were like, got them at Athlete's Foot. The level of neck breaking that day, it was a Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
on the white Lightnings, they were super rare. I also remember I left the blue peel sticker on.
Are we leaving the sticker on for the Jordan 17
We
lows?
might.
The
It
little
sounds silly.
peel off on the heel?
Yeah, because it was blue. It added a nice touch to it. I'm definitely getting those strictly for sentimental reasons.
That's such a nostalgic thing. The little
Yeah,
stickers
are you-
you
It
would
said
peel
peel.
getting a
off.
pair?
Yeah.
17. You are?
I'm not going to do the 17 low lightning.
I'm actually surprised now because it's like one of those oddball shoes that you're like, Brendan Dunne would never wear it. And you're like,
You would look great in those.
I'm gonna prove you
I
wrong.
feel like he would look great in those.
I love that.
I feel like he would look. I think you
Thank
should
you.
get him. What's the price?
Thank you, Joe.
What's the price?
I don't know the price.
Okay,
Don't take this for whatever, but I think people were estimating like $300 for
Oh.
that shoe.
I'm still getting them. I also got, talk about revisionist history. I will say, to your point, I did over the pandemic white and blue 17s with the briefcase. Got those.
What are you using the briefcase for?
No, with the shoes, just for.
But you're not using it on your daily commute or anything like that?
No, I'm not on the A train. With the briefcase.
I think
Time to clock in.
I think
But I got those. I got them. That was one that I went back. Maybe was it because of the Last Dance? But just I think I got them pretty cheap too. But full thing, CD-ROM. I don't think I got them from PG. Maybe eBay.
Yeah.
Does the CD-ROM still work?
I don't know.
I think I had told a story just like really brief that there was a girl down the hallway from me in college who her brother gave her the briefcase and she kept a bong.
The briefcase.
in the Jordan 17.
Don't try this at home, kids.
And someone who wasn't into sneakers even remotely, they just had it as like a case or whatever. And I was like, "Do you know what that is?" And she's like, "No, I have no idea."
Do we think that's
the
the
party
standout of this preview or the 4?
I think the 4 is. Another one that I like, the Air Jordan 13 Dune Red.
The Dunne red.
Yeah, Muad'Dib 13s, we could call them.
Okay.
Well, I think you should call them the not bin
Yeah.
13s.
People were saying very similar.
Yes, this Air Jordan 13 that's coming out looks exactly like the bin 13s, and I don't mind that.
Bin had those.
I think that the bin is still one of the best Air Jordan series ever, and I don't think it could exist in the same way right now, especially because the prices.
The crazy
would be
part is
insane.
the two was the best out of all the bin shoes.
The bin Air Jordans are still good. All of those hold up.
What about the 5s? You like those?
I love bin
Big
Air
JLP
Jordan
shoe?
5. Joe, do you have any of the bin Jordans?
I had the bin Jordan 5s. I got rid of them.
Why?
I actually might have sold them.
Okay, one of the rare sneakers you
One
sold.
of the rare sneakers that I sold.
Those 13s also, I guess there was a sample floating around.
Never had those.
Someone from Big Street Fits sent me a picture of an image from 2005 where they sampled the shoe up before the bin 13 ever came out, and it still looks exactly like that colorway. But I think those look
And the
so
bin,
good.
The bin 2s, go back and watch the episode. Our friend DJ Ski had told us he had gone to a sneaker con or one of those shows and just gave someone cash on the spot for the bin 2s and ended up being a fake pair.
Tough one.
Should
Yeah.
hit them with the Meek Mill. At least negotiate a little bit so you save some money when you realize that they're foo-foo. How about the Air Jordan 1 Green Glow? I know Welty hates this shoe.
Just don't care.
Let me look at it.
I don't think you're totally wrong for this, but this is a classic, what you would call paint by numbers Air Jordan 1 retro high OG that you would expect to release. Maybe let's say 2021, 2020 when people were still inside and you could flip every Air Jordan 1. Very cookies and kicks era sneaker.
Joe's favorite resale shop.
I want
Hey, they went out of business, so I think we're
Shouts to Noah Beck.
you don't have a rant for this, Welty?
You are an SOB to try to set him up for this.
No, I was not setting him up for this. I was not setting him.
I just think of, like, aside from like an OG colorway, like an Air Jordan.
No.
Not necessary.
No, an Air
No.
Jordan 1 doesn't really
Releasing in May.
matter at this
Props
point.
to, anyone.
How do we
who wants
feel?
it, but
How do
no.
we feel?
white and green?
I know we've all seen it multiple times, seen it in person, but now it looks like the trophy room Air Jordan 1
Looks good.
lows are ready to come out as the official pictures have all come out. Do we like those in
I do.
person? I know it's not part of this preview, but it's still relevant to the
Trophy Room Air Jordan 1 lows are good. Jordan 1 lows in general, me personally, I always put the disclaimer, not a sneaker I'm going to be wearing. I feel like it's hard to not make
Yeah.
it look long on the toe.
He
but
loves it, Lowe's.
I like the lows, and I think the marketing around them is great.
Commercial's great.
Of course, Trophy Room, let's always say it, the rollout needs to be better than just a good video. They need to make sure people can get the shoes in a fair way and that the access is equitable in some way. That's always going to be the question mark with them. I hope that they do.
Very good storytelling with the basketball
The Fleer
card.
cards, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when it comes to 1 lows, I really like the Travis Scott, the Mocha 1 lows, but
Yeah.
with the pink laces.
Okay.
And also
Brown and pink.
yeah,
Chef's kiss.
a shoe I feel like gets slept on a lot that's really good was those Eric Costin Nike SB Air Jordan 1 lows. It's a navy and white pair that has like a pink Jumpman on the toe
Yes.
box.
Yeah.
Those are awesome shoes.
That's a good sneaker. How about the Air Jordan 11 low Space Jam that's in this group?
We had a huge conversation about this shoe this year behind
Who did?
closed doors.
You guys?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we were talking about most anticipated shoes of the year.
And whether or not that sneaker belongs on the list.
I said yes, not because I think it's a great shoe
Yeah.
or an extremely exciting shoe, but an Air Jordan 11, even if it's a low, that shoe is going to do so much more numbers than so much we talk about
Yes,
on this
you're right.
program.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if this was the one-to-one discussion. It may have been, so correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan, but I think we were like talking about the difference between an Air Jordan 17 coming out and Space Jam 11 low. Some people were like, "Oh, in our coworker group, we're saying that the 17 because it's a cooler shoe. There's storytelling behind it, et cetera, that
Hasn't been back in a meaningful
Yeah.
way yet.
But I'm like, yeah, but when that shoe actually comes out, it's not going to sell the same way
You're right.
that a Space Jam 11 low is
No.
going to.
You're
You're
right
going to
about
see
that.
that shoe. You're going to go on a train in New York City and see that shoe left and right, I feel like.
Space Jam 11 low.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me that they didn't do this before, and I was looking at it, and they actually did do a Space Jam 11 IE low, which is a funny
Yeah.
Mhm.
wrinkle in history. The IE low, one of those sneakers that is a
International edition.
yeah,
Big
it's,
finish line shoe.
and also a shoe that you can use to prove your taste in Jordans, like the Jordan 2 at a time where you would say, I like the IE 11
Mhm.
low, or I like the Jordan 2. It was a way to distinguish yourself as
Although-
somebody who knew a little bit more about Jordans or appreciated them in a different way than other people.
Although the IE 11 low, my biggest memory of
Mm.
it is 2007, I believe, when that shoe got retroed. But the only colorways they did it in, I'm sure, Joe, maybe you remember this, there was like that blue
Yeah.
with like the yellow.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Do the Right Thing colorway.
Yeah, and then there was the white, like the women's colorway
Yeah.
that was like a white that had like the yellow with like a maybe a
Yep.
greenish tint to it.
Yep.
And- Those shoes were so bad. And
Yeah.
also to tie it in, I feel like those Do the Right Thing 3s
Mhm.
are one of the biggest love it or completely hate it
Yeah.
Air Jordans.
So you're on hate it, right?
I don't like that color combo at all. I
Yeah.
love Do the Right Thing, the movie,
Yeah.
and what the
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee
His connection to
movies.
Jordans is indelible.
Mo Better Blues, like love his work, but that color combination, you can tell me any sort of story almost,
Doesn't work.
Not for you.
unless you put it. I mean, maybe there is a little bit of red on it. I don't know. It could be an Armenian flag colorway, but
Ah, we got
see,
him.
not that you
Ladies
got
and
him, you got him.
gentlemen.
But
got him.
yeah, just I just remember. Yeah, I remember that shoe. My friend Dave had got it at the time when we were in Boston, and it was just I don't know. It was so opposite of what OGs wanted at the time, but I
Mhm.
felt like Spike Lee represented like OG sneaker
course,
collectors, so
always.
it was people were conflicted about it.
Yeah, Space Jam Jordan 11 lows though. I don't know. The only Air Jordan 11 low I think I ever bought was a Concord Air Jordan 11 low, and it was a thing I do with many Jordans where I just sat on it for a couple years and brought it to Flight Club where it sat for a couple more years, and then the soles probably got a little bit yellow, so they had to be listed as a sneaker
back to school-
with defects, and then eventually cashed out.
Sorry. My first day of college shoes were white and red Jordan 11 lows off eBay.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the Space Jam Nike SB Dunk Low? Does that fit in the same category as you?
I rem- how recent were those?
Those were like early 2010s, right? Or was
Yep.
that like 2009?
I think it was like 2010.
And then they did a bunch more colorway, a Concord one. Yeah, I like that sneaker a lot. There's also in the summer 2024 range a Air Jordan 11 low, a pink one. It's called Legend Pink. The only pink pair of Air Jordan 11 lows I think we ever need are the snakeskin Air Jordan
But
11 lows.
I can't be mad at it because honestly, when I think of Air Jordan 11 lows,
Mhm.
just because maybe in the past there's been so many women's colorways that have become, I feel like, would have defined that model.
Okay.
So when I think 11 low, my mind always just goes to a lot of women buying the shoes. So when I see a pink pair come out, I'm not mad at it.
Okay.
But also, little history tidbit for the viewers, where the Air Jordan 11 low first came out was Michael Jordan wore them at one of the Chicago Bulls
Championship
parades, and people were like, wait, he's got lows on?
Didn't come out, but the first time the public ever saw them.
And it became a bit of sneaker lore, and everyone kind of wanted a pair after that.
Yeah, it wasn't until years later that they were available for general release. And a young Joe La Puma scooped them off eBay for his first day on campus at UConn.
Can you imagine
Had the Karan Butler Miami Heat jersey.
JLP wearing a white and red? White
No.
and red? That's
We
like
used to be a country.
I mean, you were out there like set tripping. You're at
Always.
you're at
Connecticut.
you're at Yukon
I know,
wearing like a St. John's.
Yeah,
looking
he's
He's
right.
right in Connecticut.
He's
don't,
right.
Don't worry about that.
Never the king in New York. You went to school in Connecticut.
Yeah. Speaking of white and red, there's these almost taxi Air Jordan 12s or red taxi, white, black with a little red
Let
hit.
me look.
The Uber Air Jordan 12s. I don't know what you want to call them. They're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
I feel like Air Jordan 12s would be a big like JLP energy shoe. Of like
No.
you're just like
Just clunking around.
angry at the world, just like
I could
like,
see that. What else is in here? There's a Air Jordan 1 women's chrome. Actually, I'll tie it back to Nike SB for you again. It kind of reminds me of that cold pizza Nike SB Dunk Low.
Okay.
You remember that with the crinkled metallic silver chrome look on the upper, made to look like aluminum foil?
I remember that shoe.
Nike SB Dunk Low cold pizza. It's like you wrap the shoe in
Yeah,
aluminum
I
foil.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a Air Jordan 1 chrome women's pair that has a similar look to it, but not that interesting a shoe. And then also a low version of the old Japan exclusive Air Jordan 1, the metallic silver.
Yep.
With the Jumpman hanging off it. But the biggest shoe in this group has to be the Air Jordan 4 military blue,
Yes.
which they're calling industrial blue here.
Interesting shoe. Many reasons. Military blue 4s. It is the like I don't want to say like redheaded stepchild of the.
I think that's okay to say.
Yeah, that's not. No, it's not.
I think that's okay to say.
That's not bad.
As a stepchild, I will allow it.
Okay. Of the OG Air Jordan 4 colorways. Like
group,
it's not a bad shoe,
No.
but it's just when you think of all the OG Air Jordan 4s, it's like there's all of them and then there's the military blue.
Do we think the military blue is the worst of the original Air Jordan 4 colorways?
Name them.
Black cement, white cement, fire red, military blue.
It's just the one that
Probably, but also in a category that's like,
All hits.
yes, all classics. So
I'm not,
still
that's
a
what I'm
good shoe.
Not saying it's a bad shoe, but like those three, I feel like are significant. Like the Air Jordan 4 to some people is the best Air Jordan of all time. Maybe the 3, maybe the
You're
1,
raising your hand on that.
I think
maybe
so.
the 11.
Matt from corporate feels the same way.
But
Just a Matt.
I'm not saying the drop off, but it's like you go from black cement Air Jordan 4s,
Yes.
Yeah.
white cement Air Jordan 4s,
Yes.
and then fire red still.
I was never
Okay.
huge on the fire red 4s. We didn't need the Mars Blackman
Yeah.
versions.
The Mars Blackman one, that's nostalgic for me.
Okay.
Mm.
But then military blue, it's like it's not a bad shoe, but it's the lesser of those objectively.
All right.
Is that safe to say? And then
I think people agree on that.
shoe comes out in 1989, finally gets retroed 2006. So
Yep.
it took so long for that shoe to come back. In the Air Jordan 4 did get retroed in 1994 as part of the first bring back.
Yeah. And then around the turn of the century as well.
Yes, and it took a long time for that shoe to come back. I remember that shoe was all over Nike Talk
Yep.
when it first came out, the white and blue pair. The quality really stunk
This is a 2006 pair.
on it. That era is like the same as like the fire red 3s that came out. The paint would chip away on the midsole. The foam would kind of turn into like a beat up Nerf football. But the shoe came back out again, and this prompted one of JLP's most infamous non-cover story articles on complex.com titled, "Did Yeezy Jump Over the Jumpman?" And the reason why
That was a 1-day flip for the boy.
and the reason
He was
why
busy.
you
He
wrote
was
this
cooking.
the
was
reason
cooking.
why you wrote the story was the Nike Air Yeezy 2 in 2012 came out the same weekend as the military blue Air Jordan 4 re-release. And for that moment, Jordan Brand had been cooking on every single retro Air Jordan.
Is that a bad comparison made by me, though?
No, hold on.
No?
Let me just get to it. So
sorry.
that's like Wolf Gray, Jordan 5s,
Okay.
etc. Like just things that like weren't even the best Air Jordans of all time. That were
I
just,
liked Wolf Gray
but
5s a lot.
Hold on, not awful, but just not
for sure.
iconic Air
I was
Jordans.
just being nostalgic for a
Stuff
moment.
that
You're right.
if they came out nowadays, like non-OG colorway, would just sit on the shelf, right? But back then, boom,
Yep.
Nike basketball era,
Yep.
boom, gone. That shoe came out the same day, and you know what happened? The military blue 4s didn't sell out, and it was like, whoa. And I remember working at Foot Locker at the time, and a lot of people were coming, you got the Yeezys? You got the Yeezys? And like, no.
Nobody was asking for military blue force.
No, they sat there. No, we got the military blue force just came out, and people weren't into it. So Joe La Puma said, because the shoes...
So Joe La Puma was right?
It was all right.
I don't know. Were you
Got the bars off like Kermit.
I don't mean
the Kermit gift.
I don't mean to stump, man.
But they're
Maybe
called...
I'll log in the new, now that we get the new back end. Maybe I'll start logging in.
So this is the first time the shoe
Yeah.
has come out since then, though.
Yes, and also this is significant because it's the first time that the Air Jordan 4 military blue has ever been back with Nike Air on the heel, which is a big deal.
Yes, it's a big deal, but this is why people are conflicted about it is that you go through this whole process of bringing back the original shoe in all its glory.
Made to look like it did in 1989.
And it's never been back since. And then you don't call it the name of the shoe.
I don't think people are that upset about industrial blue versus military blue.
That's like the first comment on every single...
Oh.
But is anybody really going to stop themselves from buying
It's not
that shoe
saying it-
because the
why'd they
name
It's not just
change it?
saying it.
is slightly different?
They just think it's lame. That's all.
Why'd they change it?
It's unclear to me why they changed it, and I did make a joke about
Saw
this
that.
being the woke version of the shoe. I don't actually think that's why Nike's calling it industrial blue over military blue in this instance, but I could see them changing their terminology for a color because maybe military wasn't a thing they wanted to associate with it. Also, some people are saying the blue is slightly different, but if you go on Nike.com, there are plenty of other shoes with industrial blue in them. It's not a one-off thing.
It's just so nuts to me though that like you're gonna re-release an OG Air Jordan and you just can't call it by the name of the
yes,
shoe.
but a rose by any other name is still a rose. No?
Oh, good analogy.
No, but
A little bit of Shakespeare?
Yeah.
but I
You
will
like
say that
The
people
Bard?
no, because I will say that people did find it lame as well that when Nike finally, this is a similar scenario, Nike finally releases or re-releases the Columbia Air Jordan 11s,
The Legend Blue.
Legend Blue.
Yeah.
2014. And it's like everyone knows their Columbias, but just like taking away the name of the shoe.
You think the name's important?
I do. I really do. It's not this whole conspiracy of, oh, Nike doesn't want to associate with the military. Although I do think, I will just say that I do think that if that's the reason behind it, that's also super lame. And whoever made the decision at Nike should probably check themselves about that.
We don't even know if that's the case.
I'm just saying,
You're
though.
just saying-
but I'm
Whoever
just
made
saying,
the decision should check
Check-
themselves?
Yes. I do think
Check
so.
before
I
they
do think
wreck
so.
Are you going to
themselves?
check them if not?
I do think
Pull up the Beaverton?
I genuinely do think if that's the case that's
Some Antifa super soldier.
it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. I just think it's super lame that if you're like, hey, we don't want to name a shoe
Is this a potential?
military. But I don't know. No, I'm just, it's totally okay with saying that.
No, it's okay to say. I disagree with you. I'm not saying you shouldn't say it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with a brand reconsidering. We had this conversation actually recently, randomly, but Reebok questioning whether or not they should call a shoe a kamikaze. You know, and now if again, we don't know why Nike made this decision to change the name of the color or to use a different color and not use the word military. But I don't think it's absurd that a sneaker brand wouldn't want to be associated with the military.
I don't know. Agree to disagree on that. Especially since like you see a bunch of people in the military wearing, you know, the Nike SFB military
Sure.
issued boots where it's like, I don't know. There's just so much behind Nike that even though we talk about like, not to get into the whole like politics thing, but there's so much like that Nike is tied to the political structure of the United States. Like Barack Obama goes and gives a speech
At Nike campus.
at Nike campus where like clearly the brand is just one of the biggest companies in America. So they clearly have a tie to the United States. That's
okay,
all.
agreed. Like you said, agree to disagree.
I feel like you're holding back.
No, I am holding back because we disagree on it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
just feel like people don't want to hear me and Welty talk for 15 minutes about the nuances of military blue versus industrial blue. Which, anyways, that's the best shoe in this group, right?
Yes, 100%.
Military blue Air Jordan 4 might be the best Air Jordan this year. Can we say that? Or are people going for the reimagined Air Jordan 4 over
We
that?
had
Yes.
we had that discussion as well when we were talking about the most anticipated sneakers of the year. And I believe you had said that military blue, industrial blue,
Is better than the reimagined.
is going to be
Bread
bigger than the bread 4, and I
don't think so.
I totally disagreed, even though there's all the storytelling behind it. I don't think that when you talk about general public, are they going to want a white and blue sneaker versus a black and red sneaker? I would say 9 times out of 10, the black and red sneaker is just going to win because those are more popular.
Yeah.
You'll see more of the reimagined
I
than
think
the
you're right.
industrial military.
And especially seeing how they've been received already, the
Yeah.
reimagined, I always want to say remastered, the reimagined Bread Jordan 4 and how, not ubiquitous, but how prevalent, how salient that shoe is right now. I do think that it's going to be bigger than the white and blue Air Jordan 4. I don't remember saying that, but I will I will defer to you and trust your memory that if I did make that
that was
argument.
yeah.
But is this is the best shoe in this group?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
The
I like the Lightning
industrial
17
blue
lows
Air Jordan 4.
best as a personal choice, but I think this is the standout that most people are going to talk about and most people are going to try and
And the
buy.
4 itself is just so big, and I mean, it's just interesting too because, not to like harp on it, but Nike just did recently release the military black Air Jordan 4s, which in that was like a sleeper hit of a shoe that's like I think we talked about it here is like slowly just like crept up where it's like
big resale shoe.
Yeah.
no one thought at the time that that was not that it wasn't going to sell, but it wouldn't be like this sort of like salient Air Jordan that you
pretty popular
that you see everywhere, but you're like
colorway.
hey, it's a white and black shoe a la Panda. It just like people see it, they like it, they buy it. But now the resale on that shoe is like $500, which probably wouldn't have, I don't know, guessing we wouldn't have guessed beforehand. But I feel like that shoe kind of proves how popular the Air Jordan 4 model is, and it's kind of like a shift that we've seen go on where the 1 was literally the 1, for like the longest time, and I feel like people got burnt out.
Good 5-year run
on that model, and people have started. I feel like it's the Air Jordan 4 era that we're in right now when it comes to popular Air Jordan models.
I know what you mean, but I don't think the 4 is quite there yet in terms of where the Air Jordan was in the peak of its popularity in the
Air
last
Jordan
10
1?
years. Yeah.
I don't think so, but I just think that the crowd that gravitated towards it, like younger people who may be influenced by TikTok, etc., like sneaker trends, I think that the 4 has kind of become their kind of like rallying cry sneaker at this moment.
When the prices were jumping, it was all a TikTok moment.
But it's also, I would say, not that it's not, I mean, you love the shoe too, but I think that it looks like a lot of people who kind of rediscovered the Black Cat 4 is maybe like a teenage audience to some degree.
Yeah. Love that, yeah.
And just fans of Joe's who are following in his literal footsteps, right?
I don't want to say it.
Do you feel that you really helped kick that shoe off to some degree, or re-kick it off? I'm being honest with you. I'm not sitting up here to like try and like
troll you.
No.
This is what I would say. I feel like that Jordan may have become a lot of people's favorite Jordan, or in the pantheon, their top 3 Jordan recently. That's been one of my favorite Jordans for, when was the first release?
2007?
2006, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, almost a decade.
But
and I wore them a ton. And Ben Kicks met me at the hotel in Miami with another pair, probably 6 years ago.
I didn't think we were getting a Ben Kicks cameo this
6
late in
years
the
ago.
episode.
So one of the shoes I definitely was
early on, and
a lot of people associate
with you. Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair to
yes,
say. Big JLP shoe. Come on.
But
Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting because we had written about this recently when we did that list of the best Black Cat Air Jordans, and obviously
best Black Jordans.
Yeah, we kind of blurred the lines between them.
Yeah. Well, we said Black Cat
Oh,
because
I didn't know. I thought it was just all black. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Same
premise, because it wasn't just the best black Air Jordans, because there could have been shoes that have
True. You're right. Sorry.
Bread 4s could have been on the list, etc. But we tried to do mostly triple black.
Yeah, triple black.
So Black Cat Air Jordan 4.
Easily number one.
And I kind of like, I don't know why I blanked down the back of my head where I'm like, oh, that shoe re-released right at like pre-pandemic, but barely pre-pandemic.
Right on top of it, yeah.
At like January
2020.
And then it's like, we did definitely saw a boom in sneaker culture in the pandemic where everyone's at home, stimulus money,
Yeah.
buying shoes, all of that. And that shoe really had a second life, because I feel like when it first came out, it wasn't like a unpopular shoe, but it wasn't this shoe that
Yeah.
was universally viewed as like a great sneaker.
Wasn't a staple in that way.
No.
By the way, from this summer 2024 group, can we pick out a worst Air Jordan from that preview? Do y'all want to do that? Is that fair to do?
Yeah, sure.
My least favorite.
Yeah, or yeah, we'll call it the least favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I think the Legend Pink Air Jordan 11 Low. I think that's the one that least excites me in this
My
group. If I could be
least
generous
favorite of
about it,
these-
I kind of like that Team Red, white and red Air Jordan 1 High. That's not bad. Least favorite in this group, Air Jordan 1 Low Shadow. I guess you can't really be mad at that. Like,
No. And I'm like I said, I'm like less mad at like Air Jordan 1 lows.
yeah,
at
you
this-
like Air Jordan 1 Lows.
Yeah, I think they're like wearable shoes.
Yeah.
My least favorite would probably be the glow green one
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
you said.
that
I
Air
kinda-
Jordan 1
just-
High.
I think
one
I
that-
think I kind of agree.
It's my least favorite.
Yeah, because we've seen that equation so many times before.
Also, the other Air Jordan that we saw previewed, that's not part of this collection though. A friend of the program, Nigel Sylvester, has a Air Jordan 4
Mhm.
Yeah,
coming out. That's like a reworked version of
Yeah.
the shoe.
yeah. There's been some information floating around about the shoe for a while now. We're finally seeing it. Like you said, Air Jordan 4, a popular sneaker right now. It's always tough for people to accept a different version of it, or
It almost looks like a
Fear.
Fear
Yes.
4.
yeah,
Yes.
from a distance, right?
Are you a fan of the Fear 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Big JLP shoe.
I would
Yes.
think that
Big redacted shoe.
I know who.
isn't it also like a big like premium Pete shoe?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Wait, another Air Jordan pack that I want to talk about, the Air Jordan 1 Wings collection made in Italy. These are Air Jordan 1s that they're selling for almost
All white.
$1,000.
All white.
Those are black
White
pair,
leather,
too. But
white
the
and
black has like
black.
black has like pony hair on it.
One of
which-
these Air Jordans is $975. Another one is $875. It looks like they're releasing exclusively in Beijing.
Oh.
I like the idea of, I said this earlier, staple sneakers elevated
They're
by
like-
better materials.
They're basically the Jordan side of the JJJound Sambas to some degree. Not the same price, but like they kind of did the same thing on there. Like there's colorways.
Yeah, although these aren't OG colorways in the ways that the Samba
No,
were.
but like there's a black pair, white pair. They're
Mm.
like not. I don't know.
Are we ready to pay nearly $1,000
No.
for a pair of Jordans?
Those are not my style.
Is anybody ready to pay nearly
No.
$1,000 for a pair of Jordans? But it's funny to say no, because
Someone will.
someone will, and we are so accustomed to spending that much on the secondary market
Yeah.
for something that's rare and coveted. But when you're actually given the opportunity to spend nearly $1,000 on a pair of Jordans at the initial point of sale, because the materials in some way reflect that price, we automatically say
I just
no.
think they look like comment projects.
Yeah.
That's probably what they were going for, maybe.
But for those who don't know, the whole Italy storyline through Jordan, it goes back to the Air Jordan 2,
Yeah.
where some of those shoes were made in
Yeah.
Mhm.
Italy. So it's like a bit of, sneaker lore.
Cool connection there.
I think they did that better on the Don C Air Jordan 2s, like conveying that
Better expression of that heritage.
Yeah, and it's like an interesting flip on it where, it's the shoe was inspired by his wife's handbag. I still think that pink, like,
Don C. Jordan 2, the quilted upper.
yeah, that pink pair is like, that's nice. And I wish they had done something more like that instead of just being like, oh, it's a beautiful luxury sculpture shoe.
Yeah.
For this Italian-made
Yeah,
Air Jordan
okay.
1 Wings pack. Not into it? All right.
Not
enough.
something I would purchase.
Fair enough. I know you're not into the mischief Tims, but we'll get to that next week.
Should we get to it next? Yeah, let's get to it next
Yeah,
week. They
we-
release
we-
next week, right?
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
talk about it then. We'll have more reason to talk about it
Yeah. Save up.
then. Save up your vitriol.
Just don't like it.
Okay, save it.
It's fine. I agree. It's fine. Okay, one last thing. We're a little bit late on this because this transpired right after we recorded the last episode, but it feels like a
Mhm.
long time ago right now. But the Devin Booker, Shaq, I'm not going to call it a beef, but the back and forth instigated in some small way by the people sitting in this room right now.
I don't think I was instigating.
I
I
mean,
asked the question. Do you think that's instigating?
No,
I mean, it wouldn't have been.
Okay. Maybe it wouldn't have been brought up again.
This podcast was the catalyst for that conversation where weeks ago, months ago, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
at this point,
Well,
we were talking about the Devin Booker sneaker rollout and the clip. We put it on
Originally-
social. Devin Booker responded.
Because originally I had the idea that I wanted to just write a story for
Yeah.
the website where I'm like, hey, did Nike kind of fumble the Devin Booker
Rollout.
release? That's all.
And then you said it on
And then
here.
we talked about it on here. Then it turned into this whole big thing.
Yes.
Never ended up writing the story for the website because we already like it was
Conversation was out
Yeah.
there in different
Then
forms.
it went to bed for a little bit.
But Devin Booker responded,
Yep,
and then
yep.
Shaq said, you should come to Reebok.
Yes.
We could sign you. And then you had Shaq and AI on Sneaker Shopping, and
Yes.
you asked Shaq how serious he was about courting Devin Booker. And we're hoping everybody involved responds to this clip when we put it on social media so we can keep this thing going.
Yeah, it was a pretty benign question in his answer. And then I think because Shaq was like, yeah, if you want a good shoe, holla at me and AI. Devin Booker responds again, which I love that he responds. I love that he responds.
Obviously joking. Like, this
Yeah,
isn't a
he's-
serious
yes. Love
sneaker
that-
beef happening
Yeah,
here. Devin Booker said in the comments,
And then I guess-
he said we weren't checking for them Shaqs.
Yeah, and then he was saying we were on. What did he say?
we were
on
looking for the
pennies?
Mikes and pennies, my guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And look, here I am.
There he
with
is.
the pennies, my guy.
I mean, different generation though too. You know.
Yes,
But
it makes
then I
sense.
guess-
It makes sense.
But-
for how Devin Booker's like 27, like
Yeah.
For sure.
I can't imagine he has like a lot
mean,
of
there
nostalgia
were-
or reverence for Shaq shoes.
I'm not saying it's not unfair to say he doesn't have reverence for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But those shoes, it's not like they went away. Like when he was coming up in that age era, Reebok was very heavy on the Shaq
Mhm.
retro. So
Yeah.
it was a shoe that existed in the ether at that time.
Mhm.
It just wasn't, I don't think the Shaq retros, they had a moment a
Yeah.
little bit, but I don't think it was as big. There, I remember.
Certainly nowhere as big as Air Jordan and Penny.
No, for sure. I
He
remember
was looking
like
for the Mikes and pennies, my guy.
there were some cool, like there were some cool versions.
Pretty funny.
There
He
were
was
some
responding to a comment. Yeah,
there were some cool versions of Shaqs at the time. I remember another friend of the program, Mike Packer, had done, I think, the Friends of the Program Blue Chips version of the shoe with the money liner
Cool.
on the Shaqs. I thought those were cool, but a lot of people were taking it back to the early 90s, talking about Shaq shoes, saying, you know, what are you talking about? These shoes weren't popular because
Because Devin Booker wasn't alive. In
Well,
the
I
early
would say a
90s.
lot-
that's
what
where I
I
think
was
no,
gonna
that's where the
say-
signals got crossed.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a lot of people came out like defending the Shaq shoes.
You're right.
Yeah, Reebok was in the mix a little bit.
When that happened, were you sitting there thinking, "What the heck did I start"?
Were you?
What the heck did I start? No, I wasn't.
Well, hopefully we can start some more with this episode.
I hope not. But
You hope not?
You put it
no, I mean this is
Put it
a
to bed?
total friendly.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And you know how
yeah.
I know that? You know how I know that? I was watching Shaq the same night, and he was like applauding D Book's game. This is a friendly thing. I know that sometimes, you know,
we like to amp it up.
who? Just kidding. All right, I think we covered everything.
Yep.
We did. And you know what? We even covered my shoes with the same stuff
Yeah, see?
from
Welcome
the
to the
carpet.
club.
It's not
Put
just
your-
Joe. Yeah, I'm high foot like the Teenage
Yep.
Mutant Ninja Turtles used to do.
There we go.
Welty, it's
Leonardo at the fencing on
Yeah.
Portland campus.
It was Eugene. But go on. Get us out of here.
It was Eugene. All right, everyone. This has been the Complex Sneaker Show. We hope everyone has a great weekend. Please like, subscribe. We will see you next week.